going to work, so many days a week, or you're going to be a slave in a factory with no time off, or you're going to work down the mines, we do it. And if they say you're going to go and kill in our name and you're going to butcher fellow human beings in our name, we do it. And if they say you're going to outsource your jobs and impoverish your own country, and we're going to pull up the ladders of the middle class, we do it. And if you're going to say you're going to rape nature and poison the oceans, we do it. Sure. And if you're going to believe in false religion, just to keep you all pacified on the emotional side, because we know you're a bunch of emotional, chaotic individuals, we'll make sure that you have that handled for you to keep you warm at night. We'll believe that too. So we're living in a situation in which we are plastic. We are literally living in
the Matrix.
Cybernetic age. Yeah. But it's brought about by our identification, not with the great teachers, not with the great masters, not with the great naturalists, but because remember, they're out there as well. So how come we haven't identified with Emerson and Thoreau, with some of the great masters who've talked about this? And how come we didn't, listen to Hahnemann and to Paracelsus and to all the ecologists, you see, and all of these people who tell us, and by the way, they can even show us a finer and better way to be, by the way. So even if you put it on paper, what they have, as against what the technotronic world has, they come out trumps every time. Yeah. So then what is it can't just be a rational decision, because if you put the ecologists and the pantheists on one side and ask what they have a beautiful template of how to live. Yeah. That roots us back in the ancestral past, but also puts us closer to nature and gives us a more brighter future. It appeases us spiritually much greater. It gives us greater bonding with one another, which everybody seems to be crying out for. Yeah. So why is it that we turn then to the world of the disco and the acid houses and the drug culture and the addictive culture and the media culture? See, so it's not just a simple choice. It's deeper than choice, Henrik. It goes to the level of identification with our masters, the people who control the strings on which we move. And we have to deal with this identification and realize, like I've said before, that the identification is the bastard child. It's like the abortion of the guilt that we carry for each of us choosing an inauthentic life.
Michael, what about the microchip? A lot of people are talking about this. Is this the final kind of nail in the coffin that would prevent us from ever, returning to all the things that you were talking about here, basically?
No, you see, in one way, I believe that the technologies that are being born are neutral. The technologies can be used as equally by the good man as they can by the evil man. And when I say evil man, I mean a man that's turned off from his own humanity, simply. Yeah. Right? A man who does evil acts because he's morally destitute. The good man is somebody who's turned on to realize that if he harms another, he harms himself, like Socrates said. Yeah. But see, television and computer, internet, and even cell phones, I love them. I think there's nothing wrong with this technology. No. Because it's all intention. Yeah. Everything is mental attitude and intention. It's not the machine. The machine can be used or turned off by a good man, by good people in society, and under the control of the good person. There's nothing wrong at all with these technologies. Yeah. And that's why trying to wean children off television is not going to work. And try to, because that's another form of control. It's another form of telling a kid what to do. Well, they're not going to listen, because you've already created the stuff for them that's rubbish. Yeah. So how can you come along and then say, can you please turn off the rubbish we sold to you? They're going to turn around and go, no, you're the one who created it for us. Yeah. You see, and in their own humble way. Why do you think so many kids try to play Dungeons and Dragons and watch Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, you see, and get into all of his medieval... Why is the medieval... They even asked the Black Sabbath one time, the great band Black Sabbath, they asked the lead singer, hey, isn't your band real evil? And he goes, well, I wouldn't say evil, but I certainly would say medieval. And he turned it all around on them, saying, because we are medieval, because we want to go back to a more moral age in which a man was a man and a woman was a woman, and and people stood up for some ethics. Yeah. So he goes, you can call us medieval, I'll take that, but we're certainly not evil. Yeah. We don't worship the dark side. Well, there you have it. So the technology, if it's used by, like in Star Trek, they often even show you some of these super advanced, look at even the Vulcan race. Yeah. These are people who worked spiritually and who work with technology. And, of course, man, that's why Gene Roddenberry and Terry Nation and Rod Serling, they were all fans of technology. Yeah. Not once in those movies do they ever show you, oh, the evil machine, because they were too sophisticated for that. They understood that even having a technological world, art is a form of technology. Don't you need brushes? Don't you need sophisticated paints that are made out of the ochres, somebody has to go and process all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and the right kind of canvas, and the right kind of paints, and the right kind of detergents. You see, so there's, you know, archery.
Yeah.
What does it take to make a fantastic bow, a proper bow, an arrow? You know, guitar. My goodness, how do you make the strings on a guitar? How do you wind those strings and make them at the right shape and the right thickness and the right gauge?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you bend the wood? You see, that's technology,
It's all
isn't it?
technology. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. See, so technology is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with the computer. It's who's using it.
Yeah.
And for what agenda?
Absolutely.
So the microchip is human beings at their greatest, inventing things which are absolutely fantastic. Nothing evil with that, nothing wrong with that. But unfortunately what is wrong with it is that it becomes in the place of something else. If you have the digital watch, the digital watch replaced the more organic circle of time that people needed to see on their wrist.
Yeah.
If for years you're seeing the 12 divisions and understanding time to be a cycle, if then that is replaced by a digital watch that merely shows you a bunch of numbers, then yes, it is something wrong there because you're being divorced from something that your mind really does need to think about, which is time as a cycle, instead of just a sequence of numbers that's just appearing and flashing in front of you.
That's true. That's true.
You know, or that the what you call it, the alarm is Chopin's beautiful preludes set to some stupid blinking alarm clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's negative, I would say. You know, your wristwatch is bleeping out, Beethoven's, piano concerto. Yeah, that stuff is obviously, not warranted.
Yeah. How about stuff like connecting directly to the internet through, I guess a brain-computer interface in regards to, they're trying to create this, I guess what could refer to the global infosphere, and more, and this is, in some sense, I get the feeling that this is, we have this, at least I have this idea, of Atlantis technology and stuff like this being more, I guess, esoteric than techno. Technology-wise, in that sense, in regards to that being, like crystals and lights and stuff like this. But why not create a very, very good, as I said, global infosphere where people can, tap into information, basically, whatever they want to know, directly into our brain. Is there any danger here, do you think?
The danger is because it's based on a misunderstanding that man already doesn't have the knowledge of the universe inside of him.
Yeah.
It's like going down a one-way, the wrong street. So the idea, it's not that the technology will be negative again, it's that the idea behind it is an idea that is born out of imperfection.
Yeah.
The further that man gets divorced from his soul, and especially these people who run the world, the technology, they're very divorced from it. They have the idea, you see, that we don't have the reservoir of knowledge of what I call the wisdom body or the living oracle within inside us. So once you've divided from the living oracle, then naturally you're going to sense your limitation. You're going to sense that you have limited understanding about life, and that you have a lot of questions, and there's lots of puzzles in life in general.
Yeah.
So then we start turning, you see, to the machine, to the internet, to the World Wide Web, to all of those computerized data banks and memory banks, hoping that we're going to find reality there. This is what science is all about. Science is not occultism in that sense. Meta-science, because I'm a great believer in science, but I'm a believer in meta-science, where science and occultism join. In the meta-scientific world, we understand that it's just like what we do with the project timescopes that we've created in numerology and my mystery school. And, there's more scientists belong to that than occultists belong to it. Why? It's because the true engineer understands that we're already knowledgeable within. We have an inner oracle, an inner source of deep wisdom within us.
Yeah.
And that a machine is meant to be some kind of device to bring that knowledge out. So the scientists that I work with are people who don't mind making machines and don't mind creating algorithms and computer programs, you see, and they work heavily in the technological field. But they work in the reverse of what you mentioned.
Yeah.
They're saying that the knowledge exists within man as a living thing. And we don't mind creating an astrological system or a database system, you see, that mirrors and reflects that so that others have easy access to it, that mirrors what is coming out from the human being within.
Yeah.
Based on numbers, because meta-scientists realize that numbers have tremendous power, that numbers are merely forms of vibration.
Yeah.
For energies. They represent archetypal energy. But the other scientist, the sorcerer, right? Because there's a difference between magic and sorcery. What I've just talked about is magic, bringing the magical voice from within you by way of a device or with the assistance. Or you see, of a machine.
Yeah.
But the machine is now an agent of the spirit. Well, the sorcerer gets in the way of magic. That's how you define sorcery, black sorcery. Sorcery is that which stops the magic coming into your life. And believe me, we are definitely run by sorcerers in this world who prevent the human magic from coming through. What they do is they make the machine control the magic. They make the machine dominate. So in the Blade Runner type of world, these are individuals who dumb down the person to the extent that they're very cut off from their inner wisdom body, and therefore they must then turn to the bestial, collectivized database that exists outside of yourself and say, you plug into this. So then I say, hey, it's not what you're plugging into, it's what might be plugging into you in reverse.
Exactly.
This is the warning I keep giving remote viewers. Yeah, you may be mighty psychic, and you might have studied all sorts of remote viewing. That doesn't interest me in the slightest. You might think you're tuning into something. Hey, what force is watching you? What aspect might be vampirizing your vision or might be using you as an oracle? Because it's only a thin line between a remote viewer acting from his own will and then being used by a higher form of intelligence, you see, up the ladder.
Yeah. Very interesting.
So I believe that this collective brain that you're talking about, that might exist in technology, this worldwide brain, yes, they're using fancy terms like global brain. Yes, that is deadly because it's going to replace your own natural intelligence. It's going to further dumb down your own psychic, intelligence.
I read just today, I think it was, my brother pointed out regarding a guy called Kevin Warwick, and allegedly he's like the first official cyborg or something. He wrote a book called I, Cyborg, and just reading shortly about his approach to this, it was very 5 sense, very material science in the sense that he viewed it like that we have to that we only have the 5 senses as human beings, and that we are very limited. And again, it wasn't evil in his approach. He simply stated that why not improve that when we with machine and technology that we can see more of the spectrum and stuff like this. But again, it was nothing like we are actually involved in a spiritual process here where we can access this kind of information anyway without the technology.
Well, see, don't you see that from the time of the Christian church, nature has been despiritualized?
Yeah.
As soon as Christianity came on board, what was the first thing that it did? It tried to demonize nature. It said that there is no spirit. Nature might be matter, material they call it, but it doesn't have any spirit. And if it does, the only spirit that inhabits nature is the devil. He's out there to tempt you. He's hiding there. He's the erotic demon who's going to seduce you. So they've successfully demonized nature, Henrik. The next thing to demonize is the human being himself. Meaning to de-spiritualize your mind. They have to start with nature first because as I've been saying, nature and mind were once connected in this, what is known as holistic. We're not a hierarchy, we're a holarchy. Which is all brain thinking. It's what's known as polyphrenic thought, where your mind is omnidirectional. Now you are in a monophrenic thought system. So they've succeeded in demonizing and despiritualizing nature, but they don't stop there. These same forces now have to despiritualize you. And they have their model men, these agents, who will talk about this. Because once you despiritualize the human body and the human mind, then you open the way for this kind of cyborg type of mentality to exist. And because it is more efficient, and because it's not troubled by emotion, because this whole thing is rooted in the theme of the talk that I did in L.A. If you have a dark, negative relationship with your emotions, and your emotions become, because of that relationship, darker and more toxic as a result because you've lost the way of processing it, then naturally you don't want to live in a toxic situation, so you'll start to develop a toxic relationship to emotion. Because your emotions are no longer pure to have a good relationship with, and they're so uncomfortable to possess inside yourself that it's very likely, just as Steve Quayle and other writers have said, that we may in fact want a post-human cybernetic world. The motive